Joey B, man, with stats in hand, spilling numbers like grains of sand. Fancy talking about diamond dreams, chasing players, whispering their schemes. Oh, Welsh, breaking it down real slow, voices howling in the radio's glow. Talking monsters on the baseball field, wizards swinging bats and magic shields. Fantasy baseball in the night, podcasters giving us that sight. Question marks and stars collide, dreams of glory never hide.
Welcome in, everybody, to Fantasy Pros MLB. This is Leading Off Live. It is me, Joey P. Joe Pizzapia. With me, of course, is the Welsh, and it's all of my beautiful peanuts and Cracker Jacks here. Hope everybody had a lovely holiday weekend. I know I did. A little baseball, a little fireworks, a little beach. Very America. The Mets beat the Yankees 2 out of 3 games. Frankie Montas beat Carlos Rodon, which just sheer joy. Sheer joy, Welsh. That's where I'm coming from. Welsh, it's great to see you. I've missed you. It's been a couple days off for me. You've been here with Joe Arrico. Shout out to Joe for holding it down. But a lot of baseball to talk about. The All-Star lists finally came out. No Mookie Betts, no Juan Soto. How does that make you feel?
Makes me feel great, to be honest with you. There's something I want, like big name play. I especially want players that should be in it to not go, so we can all shine a spotlight on how absolutely ridiculous the system for picking all-stars is. Everybody's crying like, "Oh, George Springer's not in the all-star. Juan Soto." Like, I want
a couple good weeks. Juan Soto's had a good 6 weeks.
I want everybody to cry about it and then do something about it, because having fans vote is the dumbest thing. Javier Baez is the starting outfielder in the AL.
That's pretty dumb. It's pretty dumb. Framber Valdez isn't on the team too. Stupid. But anyway.
You know what I found out this weekend, by the way?
What's that?
I found out a friend of mine is best friends with Frankie Montas. Their family is best friends with Frankie Montas.
Well, there you go.
I'm going to have to get Frankie on the show now, right?
Let's get Frankie on. I want to give him a big high five for the big victory.
Totally random. It was totally random. They're like, "Hey, by the way, do you know Frankie Montas?" And I'm like, "Yes, I do. So does my good friend Joe." And they said, "We're best friends. So look out for future best friend of the show, Frankie Montas. As long as he,
it's one thing you need. It's another best friend in Major League Baseball. Of course, we're here on our Twitch, twitch.tv/fantasypros. That's the place to be Monday through Friday. Join us noon Eastern. You can also watch us on demand on the YouTube channel, Fantasy Pros MLB, where you should subscribe, because when you do subscribe and drop a comment below, you could win this bad boy. That's right, the Juan Gonzalez jersey, number 19, signed by Juan Gonzalez. I don't know if he was on PEDs when he signed this or not. I don't care. All I know is it's a good-looking jersey, and we're giving it away for free from pristineauction.com. Drop your comments, ring the bell till it goes ding, like this video. That's all you got to do to get involved here for this jersey. And a lot of positive feedback from this jersey, too. A lot of people are like, "Ooh, oh, yeah." On the YouTube, they love the white sterling Juan Gonzalez jersey. It's a good-looking jersey, and people like the throwbacks. That's what I've learned. They like the throwbacks. They like the old stuff.
Now we know.
Old stuff is still useful. Old stuff like Brandon Woodruff, which is where we start today's show. Brandon Woodruff returned. Dark Joe is dead, at least for now. He allowed 1 run, 6 innings. He got the W. It was against the Marlins, but still 8 strikeouts. I mean, he was good, Welsh. Not just okay, he was very good. I'm sure on most people's benches like mine. I wasn't prepared. I wasn't ready for the Woodruff. But this was a very encouraging start. He makes his next start against the Nationals. So, of course, I'll throw him back in the lineup this week, and I'm sure he'll go 5 innings and give up 4 runs.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the start, it was like vintage, and that's what you wanted to keep him with our old terms. It was just vintage Woodruff. He was throwing 4 different pitch types, 10% or more of the time. All of them, he was throwing for strikes, 50% or more that weren't getting hit. He was getting whiffs on his changeup. It all looks good. It all looks solid. And we're going to have to see, like, long-term how the fastball kind of maintains. It's got a little Zach Gallen-ish to him, where he hits 95 and then he sits 93 on it. A lot of sinker, a lot of cutter, a lot of changeup. I just, massively encouraging. They made a move, which was pretty crazy in it, which I know we're going to talk about. But I think, like, locking in this start, it's just like big win. Like, we had so many questions where Woodruff was being put in the same breath as Zach Gallen or Alcantara, and we were just not sure about it. And it's like, all right, he's finally got the hex off of him. Like the Shadow Joe and the hex is gone. He went out got his innings in, got his strikeouts. He looked great. He was efficient on a team that is, going to keep pressing the rest of the year. It's a huge win if you're able to get in on Woodruff, because now no longer is he in that conversation. He's not with those guys anymore. He's well above.
Nobody wanted him to succeed more than me. I was the biggest Brandon Woodruff. Well, this is why the Dark Joe character came to the show in the first place. It was out of pain and suffering of waiting for Brandon Woodruff and his many ailments and rehab starts to come back. I thought it was a genius picking him up with all these leagues on the cheap. And I thought he'd be back in May, and he didn't make his first start until July. I was promised May, and I got July. That's why I'm upset. Now, I was also thinking that it would take a longer time for Corbin Carroll to return. That was not the case. He returned this weekend, and I went, really? Is that the best idea? I struck out all 4 times up against the Royals. He's 0 for 9 in the 2 days. So Welsh, just out of curiosity, were you as surprised as I was that Corbin Carroll returned so quickly? And are you concerned that Corbin Carroll returned so quickly?
Yeah, a little bit of both. I hadn't gone out to rookie ball a ton in the last couple of weeks, 115 every single day. I went out on Thursday in hopes that Noah Syndergaard was going to be pitching. Of course he didn't. So I'm just kind of sitting there and I'm talking with a couple people. And we're speculating because Travis Bazzana just returned. We knew Corbin Carroll, and we're kind of speculating on the days. So Noah doesn't pitch. I'm walking out. Look, Corbin Carroll's in the lineup that night. We were talking maybe later the next week he would be in there. Sure enough, he's in the lineup, in the outfield. The next day he didn't travel and he just did a session at the stadium. And then he's back up. The reason they said it was they were tracking his bat speed to see, was he losing any bat speed along the way? His bat speed was normal. He felt comfortable, so they put him in. Not sure if he looks comfortable 100%. I think it's a little too quick. I'm still not really sure the why you brought him back. I mean, the season's done. Like, why are you pushing him back this final week?
The Diamondbacks think their season's done well.
No, they don't. They won't relent on that.
And I think they brought him back because they've got 6 or 7 games left here to play before the All-Star break, and then he can rest again after that. And I think that's their thinking, which is kind of cray-cray to me.
Yeah, well, I think also like the hopes of maybe if he was going to be put as an alternate, that he wanted to play in the All-Star game. But yeah, this might be that final week of it. But yeah, I think it's a little bit worrisome that he came back so quick. And we saw that little holding of the shoulder thing he was doing last year where he really got manipulated up in the zone, but they never admitted that it was like his shoulder the entire time. Wrist stuff that can zap power, whether it's like we're talking like hammets or you're going high. I know it's like a little bit lower, but like if you're getting into that area, I'm worried he's not gonna be able to turn over the ball. So that does have me worried about Corbin Carroll's fantasy value a little bit the rest of the way, but maybe the All-Star game, another little break after playing a little bit is going to be the trick. Maybe.
Well, this week, Schlittler's happening. That's right. Schlittler happens. Can we talk about Schlittler a little bit? I want to talk about Schlittler because we told you a week ago on the show this will be next man up. Now it's part and parcel because we had an injury there where Clarke Schmidt undergoes the Tommy John, which we knew was going to happen at some point. That was definitely going to be on the horizon for him. He got hurt. They put him on the IL immediately, and they basically were like, nope, he's done. It's not going to be a good situation, which sucks because Clarke Schmidt's gone for this year. He's gone all of next year, most likely. And now the Yankees have got to find some more answers in that rotation. Now Schlittler, 24 years old, 2.82 ERA, 99 strikeouts, 20.
Uh-oh. Is that Joe or me? Joe's frozen. All right.
It's me.
You're back. Sorry, I didn't talk in there. I wasn't sure if it was going to be if it was me and my computer or Joey. Uh-oh.
It's the Schlittler.
Uh-oh. Schlittler happens. Hey, yo. You're back. No? I could talk about Cam Schlittler if you want. I'm very careful about his name. While Joe gets himself together, here is some StatCast data from AAA on the Schlittler. 96 on the fastball, which he's throwing 40% of the time. And then he is dropping heavy slider usage, which he is pumping 90 miles per hour. What do you think about that, Puppet Joe? Hey, yo, I love this.
I'm here. I'm back.
All right.
Can you see
and then
me?
a curveball.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
we can hear you.
Okay.
Fastball, slider, curveball, all at least 10% or more of the time. Curveball has got about a 14 mile per hour differential between the fastball. So pumping 96 to 97, throwing it around 83. He's got a really hard slider, which the usage has gone up this year. So I'm pretty encouraged with the stuff that Schlittler's gotten, that he's getting an opportunity now. I think that was the other thing before. It was like, where ultimately is going to be the opportunity, but we're gonna have to see him get some swing and miss stuff. It was like a 14% swinging strike rate he had in AAA, which is pretty good. 30% CSW percentage. Again, those are pretty good, but he's just a big bodied guy with a big fastball slider combo. And I think he's going to be worth streaming right out the gates.
Yeah,
What do you think?
Well, I think it's hilarious because this is not the first person that told me this. I'm going to see if I can find it. Game Over, we're saying that Schlittler just got added to ESPN this morning because people were looking to pick him up over the weekend. And this news came out on Saturday. Like, come on, ESPN, be better. Like, what are we doing here?
But is that like a system where, well, I guess he didn't make his debut because like Yahoo has a setting in their system where a guy doesn't hit the wire until they made their debut.
Well, that's the dumbest thing ever.
Oh yeah, I've played in a bunch of leagues that were like that. Where
why I don't play there?
You have open world. Well, no, you can set it to like open world where just everybody, and then it's only prospects are available post draft once they've made their debut. That's kind of the same NFBC standard, though. I think it's like they're not in the system until they've made their debut.
That's different. NFBC is different. That's a different animal. It's high stakes. Then everybody's on the same page, so it's not like somebody's stashing all these prospects and stuff like that. I understand. But in your casual leagues, if you're smarter than everybody else, then why are you at a deficit? I don't like that at all. I think it's really stupid. But we'll see what he does. I would stream him this week. I mean, Yankees are a good team. You get plus money on the Yankees right now, by the way, to win that division. So I'd be taking that right now before it goes away, because it's going to go away. Toronto's not going to stay up there, boys and girls. It's not going to happen. George Kirby was terrific Sunday. He had 9 strikeouts against the Pirates, 6 1/3 scoreless innings. In that same game, Paul Skenes, he's pretty good. 10 strikeouts, 5 innings. Did he get a win, Welsh? Did he get a win? No.
Did he get a win?
No, he did not get a win.
No, sir. There was no win. Again, how many wins does he have on the year? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 wins. And you're going into the All-Star break.
Yeah. Seriously. Ridiculous. Zack Wheeler was also ridiculous, but in a good way. 1 hit, 9 innings, 3-1 win over the Reds. My Zack Wheeler Cy Young share from the early start of the season looks pretty good right now. Feeling really strong about that bad boy.
11-1. 11-1 on Betting Pros. I laid it out like 2 months ago, so it's looking
very good. I think I got it at 7 or 8 preseason, so I got to look at it again. It was near there. Trevor Rogers, a guy that we talked about last week on the Waiver Wire show, a guy we talked about a couple times, I think, on leading off. 6 2/3 shutout innings, struck out 6 guys against the Braves, so that's a real big boy lineup. This was really impressive. This was probably the most impressive of the Rogers starts for me. So in a season where nothing has gone right for the Orioles, it feels like they might have actually found something here. Now they've got to make sure that they don't screw it up with this kid, and they just, manage his innings a little bit. Next year, have him as part of this rotation. You hope you get Grayson Rodriguez back. Maybe you're smart to go sign somebody else. But the Orioles, I think, finally in 2025 have done something right with Rogers.
Yeah, it's like something has gone their way, to your point. Now I'm thinking like, all right, you got it to work. Now trade him. Like that's what they're going to end up doing. They're going to end up trading him. God. But yeah, I don't know
this kid if I was somebody looking. I'm a 27-year-old left-hander. Yes, please.
Yeah, we'll have to see. We'll see how long it maintains. That was like some of the stuff doesn't like jump off of the board, but the K number is 21%, walk 7%. So it's like this is okay K minus walk percentage. His expected ERA is low 3s, which is really nice, and he's not giving up a bunch of hard contact. So those are all pretty promising things, and it comes with which we've talked about a bunch. He's added velo. It's like 1.5 miles to 2 miles per hour he's added on his fastball sinker. So he keeps this up. He's just going to be, whether it's like a low league streamer or maybe like a 12-team and high, just like hold at the bottom end of your rotation, I'm going to keep rolling him out.
All right, let's get to Matthew Boyd. Another strong performance for him. His 9th win of the year. First time All-Star, 9 strikeouts on the night, too. Just 3 hits, 1 walk. So again, Boyd, one of the great sleepers going into this year. I know I talked about him in the Black Book. I've talked about him on the show and all the preseason stuff. He has exceeded my wildest expectations. Kevin Gausman, 2 runs, 7 hits, 5 2/3. Kind of a weird start for him. He walked 3, but he did have 9 strikeouts, so I'll take it. Emmet Sheehan held the Astros to 1 run over 5 innings too. Now it'll be tricky to see what happens because you get Tyler Glasnow coming back next week. What happens? So eventually here after the All-Star break, you're going to have Yamamoto. You're going to have Ohtani ramping up. You're going to have Glasnow returning.
Kershaw.
And then eventually you're going to get Blake Snell. But that seems like it's more end of July kind of potential.
Maybe. End of July, end of August. At this point, I don't think.
No, he's already throwing the bullpens and stuff. He had
another but he hasn't even gotten into game action. He's been out for like 3 months.
But like he's got a game action this week. He faced live hitters on Sunday.
I'm saying like competitive. Like I mean, I guess they did it with Ohtani. But I mean, this isn't the type where you just like throw him out without some rehab starts. I think he's going to have at least 2 weeks of rehab starts.
But let's think about it. If he's throwing live BP on Saturday.
Yeah.
He'll probably go out on a rehab assignment this week, I would imagine, because that's like the next step. That's usually the progression.
If that happens, then yeah, maybe you can get him. I mean, it's not unreasonable to say he could be back at the end of July, but
he will be here before I'm gone. That's what I'm saying.
I don't think I'm gonna. I'll make a bet. I'm gonna bet you're gone before he's back.
All right, we'll see. We'll see who's right, who's wrong. You know who is gone? Dave Martinez and Mike Rizzo. So. I guess a championship only buys you so many years. Ownership has made a change. And look, the Nationals have been bad. You want to hang it all on Martinez? I don't know. You want to hang it all on Rizzo? I don't know. Rizzo was kind of up against it. After the World Series, he had to make a decision. You had to pay Anthony Rendon or Steven Strasburg, and the answer was none of the above. And I get it. Like, at the end of the day, that was none of the above was the correct answer. But coming off a World Series, it was tough to make that decision and not say, well, let's try for the ace. Strasburg has been so good, but that contract really set them back. They lost Bryce Harper. They lost Juan Soto. I get it. Maybe it's just time for a regime change, but still, ownership's got to spend more money, at the end of the day.
Yeah, I don't know. Rizzo's really interesting because his hand is in everything, especially with the draft. And this definitely came abruptly because you've got the draft a week away. You've got, you had manager comments about players on Saturday. You had this very big involvement. This obviously came as some big blow up, and you got to wonder if it's beyond just game stuff because James Wood is playing really well. Abrams has been good. McKenzie Gore, if you look at it from like a management,
is not the Nationals' problem.
Yeah, but I'm saying like players are coming together and stuff like that. Like you don't have the team that's going to win yet, but it looks like you've put the pieces together. But okay, so to your point, of talent evaluation is not the problem. Rizzo being involved is the craziest part of it because he is like a force. He's a scout at heart. So I wonder if there's kind of culture and maybe the upcoming draft, because I think this is gonna potentially change what they do in the upcoming draft. Like this could have been part of the problem, whether it's Kate Anderson. I mean, we're going to be talking about the draft and whatnot because they're at the tippy top. That maybe there was a big difference between ownership and where the team was heading and what they were wanting to do that just said, we're going to just blow this thing up. I really just don't know, but it sends just ripples in with the draft coming so close that
you're right.
Rizzo,
the timing is interesting.
Yeah. Rizzo's not a guy that just would be like, you guys figure it out. Like, no, he's going to have an opinion and he's going to have final say. And maybe they killed that coming into the draft, a very important draft for them. So I don't know. I was shocked by this. This morning, even I was like, that was real, right? Like he did.
I was shocked by Rizzo, not Martinez. That was what shocked me.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That they went in midseason and got rid of both of them. That you don't see usually. Typically, that's not what it is. Van Ra's got a question. Would you pick up Nick Martinez or Schlittler?
Ooh, Nick Martinez has been really good. I would hold with Nick Martinez because there's one of those things where it's like Cam Schlittler could be anything. He could even be Nick Martinez. It's like the Family Guy boat in the box thing. Like I'm not like Schlittler. Maybe he's going to really, really surprise. It's a really tough division. I just think Nick Martinez has been pretty solid. So I want to hold with him.
The Brewers demoted Chad Patrick, so that's how you ended up getting Brandon Woodruff active. Also, another transaction there for the Brew Crew. Looks like Andrew Vaughn's coming up because Reese Hoskins going on the IL. So Chad Patrick had pitched very well. The expected ERA was a little bit higher than the actual ERA. So I think the Brewers were like, Chad, you done a good job. Now we're going to let the big boys go in there and help some more. So we'll see. Who knows? Maybe he's part of a trade package somewhere else. I mean, he's done a very good job for them. I could see a lot of teams wanting Chad Patrick. Rookie Lookie time. Joe Boyle, another favorite of the program here. He got the call up this weekend. 5 scoreless innings in relief. But what was so interesting about this, Welsh, is it was piggybacking Drew Rasmussen, who only pitched 2 innings, who was also part of our sell high video last week, you and I, this discussion about what do the innings look like? What do the innings look like? And then by the weekend, all of a sudden, I think we have an idea what the innings look like, which is he's getting scaled back. Now, do you think this is just a scale back big break for the All-Star break? Or is this the scale back, oh my God, we're basically up against it here with Drew Rasmussen the rest of the season here, and maybe we can't even start him at all?
I think this is a short-term scale back. This is the type of thing, if you're doing long season management, you've got to look, where are we going to cap? And like Jerry's saying, if they're saying 150 innings, like where are we going to pull those innings from to make sure that they're there in an important time when they're vying for this division? And that would be like, you're going to get a break during All-Star game, do a couple of these 1, 2, 3 innings. You got these great minor leaguers out there like Joe Boyle. We had talked about Seymour, who's put in the bullpen. I think this is short-lived, but it still lives in our world of why we were selling. Like, you had innings caps, you had him kind of overperforming, and I don't know, maybe there's a buy for some of you guys out there right now for him. If I'm not going to, I agree with you, but you could see it in theory. If he's going to have these 2 innings and people are pissed, and you can get him for next to nothing, that'd be nice. But this is just all the reason.
Michael wants to know, Schlittler or Yuri rest of season? This is not close for me. It's Yuri. Yuri got a 2-start week coming up. Hopefully he can build on it from what he had last weekend. It was a really good start last week, or not week, I should say. Yuri's best start so far of 2025. Chase Burns, also in the rookie Lookie, 1 run, 2 hits, 4 2/3. Again, mixed bag, 7 strikeouts. He had 4 walks. He walked 4 guys in 4 innings. That's not good. That's Jack Leiter stuff, bruh. That's what that is.
Boy.
Didn't look great yesterday, but whatever. We don't have to talk about that. Brady House, 3 for 4 with a walk and an RBI. So a good day for him, but no good days for Jack Caglione. Struck out twice. I saw people ask in the chat, can you drop him? You can. I mean, at this point, it's very frustrating. He's got a 148 batting average. It's got 115 plate appearances. It's disappointing. It's frustrating. I think it's a confidence thing more than anything right now. Welsh, he just doesn't look like he's confident taking at bats. So maybe you send him down to AAA, let him clear his head, and hopefully you bring him back, maybe in August. That's what I think the path is going to be.
I'm not even sure that they do send him down, but it's kind of like a Kurtz thing. I mean, the difference though with Kurtz was hitting for average. He wasn't doing anything else. People were bitching and complaining to us while he was hitting 280, and it's like, that's not the case with Caglione. But can you drop him? Sure. Yeah, I mean, you can, but what the talent is. It's 500-foot homers, and if he starts to lock in and, those chase rates are lower, that, he's going to probably put up an 8-homer month. But we don't know if that's going to happen. And we've seen enough of a sample size where if there's something out there, you could probably move on comfortably, especially in short. 10 teams, this ain't even a question. 12 teams, I still kind of think you can if there's something nice out there.
Yeah. Look, I've still, in keeper situations, I'm still holding him.
I'm not talking any keeper.
So if there's any kind of keeper situation, I'm not letting him go. But if you're in a redraft 12 team right now, you can let him go. It's fine. I mean, there's sucks. I was hoping that maybe this weekend, you still see some signs of life, but you just haven't. And I still believe in the player. It's just the same thing with Christian Campbell, right? Still believe in the player, so is the organization. And look how long it took Cam Smith to get going, but look how good he's been, right? Kurtz, same thing. Took a long time. It's patience. These are not building blocks. They are what? They are bonuses. Keep that in mind. That's what they are. Speaking of bonuses, it's time for Prospecting with the Welsh. That's right, everybody, because we got ourselves a fancy futures game coming up soon. And Welsh is going to talk about some of them kids who might get some opportunities to play in their futures game. So, Welsh, let's start with a guy here who I actually added in my home league this past weekend, Trey Yesavage, who has been Yesavage. I love the kid's delivery. It's super fun, very over the top. Yep. I'm trying to get a comp in my mind of who that reminds me of, because you don't see a lot of those kind of guys nowadays in the big leagues. But Yesavage has flown through the minor leagues. The Blue Jays, we reported last week on Leading Off that they might actually bring him up at some point this season. That's how quick this rise has been. So let's talk about the meteoric rise of Trey Yesavage, and you look at the stats here for him too. They've been pretty spectacular, Welsh.
Yep, and we're starting in the AL for the futures game. A pitcher and a hitter, or at least 2 players in the AL, 2 players in the NL, and I did follow the hitter and pitcher marker. This is the only guy that's at AA, because the futures game is just littered with, you got low A, you got guys like Jesus Marte that are playing all the way up to AAA guys. So, picking and choosing between the guys that can make impact this year is a little bit lower. And this is a guy that's not a double A or not a triple A. He's that double A. But you mentioned they talked about him potentially being in part of that rotation. And I think they could use the rotation help. And he has been phenomenal. We're going to see him on stage. Looks like he's going to pitch. And with this team competing, I really think even if you put him in short stints, bullpen, you get him in spot starts. 111 strikeouts over 67 innings. He's got this really nasty splitter. And as Joe mentioned, this overhand delivery. Overhand deliveries, like long-term sustainability, are kind of a question. Lance Brzdowski's talked about this. It's a question I've always had over a couple years. Anytime you see these guys, like Jonah Tong does it, Yesavage does it, but his stuff is nasty. The fastball and that splitter combination, I think, are going to really, really give fits at the major league level. So we'll see him in the futures game. Keep a close eye. I think it's a possibility that he's a guy after the futures game could just be sent out to AAA. And then after that, we've seen guys, we saw Chase Burns get 2 starts in AAA. I don't think it's out of pocket to say by August, you could see Trey Yesavage in the rotation for the Blue Jays. So this is a real possibility. So keep a close eye on him. I do think in the short sample size of what he'd pitch into the season, I think he could find some good success while hitters are trying to readjust to him, because he's just a little bit more of a unique guy that hits the zone with that nasty splitter.
You know what's so interesting too? Tim Lincecum was a guy that had that, he's a smaller guy, obviously.
Yeah.
He had a very over the top because he had created so much leverage. Like that's almost in my head when I watch him pitch. He kind of reminds me a little bit of that. I mean, there's been other guys too, like Nomo was a very big over the top guy. It's not something you see very often. It's funny, actually, Ubaldo Jimenez, a guy we were chatting about last week, kind of had a little of that in him as well. But he was very over the top, which is really unique and interesting. And I think it creates a very uncomfortable at bat. So from all the tape that I've seen on him, that's one thing that stood out. Brice Matthews, another guy who's standing out in the futures game in the American League. AAA right now for the Houston Astros on the year, 51 runs scored, 10 homers, 24 steals, hitting 280 with a 401 OBP and an 880 OPS. Now it's PCL, but if you go back to 2024, still some pretty good numbers there for him, and that's what you want to see. You want to see him producing in other spots. So he still had a 376 OBP in AA last year. So it is not a joke. It's not a surprise. But Brice Matthews, a guy right now who, you got to say, certainly the Astros, the longer Alvarez is out, more offense needs to be found. So is this a piece that they move potentially to bring in more offense? Or is this a kid that we might see in August?
Well, you also got the injury with Jeremy Pena. So I don't know. I'm not sure they want to come off of that.
That's kind of a short-termer, though, isn't it?
Well, I mean, maybe if they're telling us the truth. I mean, Alvarez wasn't supposed to be this long-term either. So I don't know. But I don't think he's a trade chip. They don't have a ton of trade chips. And I think you want to hold a piece or two. And I think this is the one they want to. He's one of those analytical. There are a couple guys from the draft a couple years ago who had these just analytical standouts who had just big EVs. Lou James Grover with the Diamondbacks. Brice Matthews was another one of those. And I just don't think they will, because I think he's going to thrive when getting to Houston. This year, he was in AAA last year. He's increased his max EV from 105 last year to a above average 111. His average EV was about 88 miles an hour last year. It's almost 91 this year. Hard hit rate is up, and he's got a great launch angle. It's around 13 right now, just about 13. So you get him there, I think it's going to start flying. His problem is strikeouts. He's definitely got a strikeout problem. This is a guy that obviously is just trying to strike the ball really hard, but it's a 30% strikeout rate, but 10 homers, 24 stolen bases, really good impact. Ball flies off. If he can cut the strikeouts down, that could even make him more enticing. But I just wonder if the Astros look to him post futures game as well, post All-Star break, as just like you said, an injection into their offense. 2 years of AAA kind of tells us the story of a player that can't be there much longer. So that's why Brice Matthews is on this list, especially in the AL. And I think we could see him pretty soon. And I actually think he could maybe surprise a tiny bit once he gets to the majors, just because I think that ballpark is going to fare well for him. So I would have a little bit more interest maybe than you would think once he gets called up.
But long term, he's not going to play shortstop for this team. Not with Jeremy Pena there. I think we can agree on that, right?
No, I mean, Pena's a superstar. Yeah.
Right. So basically, what we're looking for is we're looking for him to take over second base eventually. I think that's probably what
Yeah.
you're looking at when it comes to Brice Matthews. So if you're looking at dynasty leagues, that should make some sense to you in terms of how to judge his future. Let's talk National League futures, guys. Owen Caissie, the first guy we're going to talk about. This guy at AAA for the Cubs this year has been terrific. 52 runs, 16 homers, 39 RBI, 3 steals for good measure, a 280 batting average, a 944 OPS. This seems like the big chip that if the Cubs are going to go get a pitcher, that's going to get moved. And considering that they've already put their chips in there for, Kyle Tucker, and they moved Cam Smith already, and they have Pete Crow Armstrong, it feels like they have the depth in the outfield to make this kind of move too if they want to.
I don't think this move of our excitement is him being a Cub. It's probably going to him being a Marlin. I think I've seen the Owen Caissie for Sandy Alcantara stuff floated out there. His bat, just like Brice Matthews, AAA last year, AAA this year. Average EV is up like over 2 miles per hour. It's almost at 92 miles per hour. Gets the ball in the air, almost 52% hard hit rate. He's played really well, and there's only so much longer he can be there. But like Brice Matthews, the strikeout rate over 30% at AAA is going to have people concerned. But there's just big offensive bat. It kind of reminds me of like how the Marlins got Kyle Stowers. If they were to go and get an Owen Caissie, I think you would throw him in probably hitting like behind Agustin Ramirez, and he's like a 5 hitter. But there's big, massive power. He is hitting for average, and you know what? Frankly, he is hit for average at every level AA above. So regardless of the strikeouts, that speaks well. I'm not sure if he's ever going to be a superstar or anything like that, but a fantasy run, we've seen what Ramirez has done. I think Owen Caissie, AAA, he's going to be kind of spotlighted during the futures game. And I think he could be a big trade chip that probably wherever he's traded goes in and starts like in their lineup pretty soon. So keep a close eye on Owen Caissie.
We've been keeping a close eye on Andrew Painter for a while, and there's been a ton of hype around him, but he does have an ERA of 4.5 right now. I know he's still striking guys out. I know he is arguably the number 1 pitching prospect in baseball, and we've had that hype train before not deliver us to the station. So what do you make of Painter's struggles so far at AAA? And I'm saying struggle in the sense that like he's had some good outings and obviously some rocky ones. That's how you get to a 4.5 ERA. I know sometimes those numbers can be a little inflated because obviously his innings are very limited. So of course, if he has a bad start, it's going to blow that ERA up. But have you seen anything out of Painter recently that makes you think he can contribute to the Phillies this season?
Yeah, I still like, regardless of what some of those results look like, I think he has dominant stuff, and I think he's just going to eat when he's there. And we've talked a lot about Painter. Like there's a lot of guys we could have talked. There's players we have talked about. I made this a futures game centric one, talking about players we hadn't up until this one. But this specifically stands out to me because I think post All-Star game, maybe even announcement during All-Star weekend, Andrew Painter I think could get thrown into the rotation. Mick Abel sent down after the struggles. They got Taijuan Walker in the rotation right now, and God knows when Aaron Nola is going to be there. The point of Andrew Painter this entire year has been they were going to build him up until July, and then he was going to be joining the rotation. Guess what? They built him up. He's not pitching in the futures game. Specifically, why? Because I think he's going to get the call up, and post All-Star break, he is going to be in the rotation and he's going to get some starts. Now, will that hold? I don't know. They could bring Mick Abel back. Aaron Nola could have some positive news. Like things could happen, but I think he's going to be there. And regardless of what some of those results are, he'll throw a lot in the zone, which I think has led to a little bit of that ERA. And I think they can fix it, but it's a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. He's got a 90-plus-mile-an-hour cutter, which is great. His slider is sick. His curveball is sick. He's just got the arsenal that I think he's going to succeed regardless of these results. And I think I'm going to just predict we're going to get a nice sneaky announcement maybe during that All-Star weekend that Andrew Painter is going to be up in the majors, in the, whatever that would be, like in the July 20 range.
So we've got Wheeler, we've got Sanchez, we've got Ranger Suarez. Lazardo's not getting bounced, right? You don't think so, even though he's...
No, it's Suarez. Suarez is in the rotation right now because Mick Abel's gone, and Aaron Nola's hurt. Now, if Aaron Nola were to come back...
I counted him. Wheeler, Sanchez...
Oh, Walker.
Suarez.
I'm sorry. Taijuan Walker. My
Walker's
apologies.
in there right now to take over that Abel spot. Is an Andrew Painter announcement an indictment of the health of Aaron Nola?
I don't think it's an indictment. It could be a bridge because if Aaron Nola comes back, then he would get painted. But it could be either way. You could look at it either way. I'm not going to read it as anything to Aaron Nola in that they said they were going to get him major league starts, and they're getting him major league starts right after the break at some expense. Now, if Nola was healthy, that puts a bigger question. And we always asked, how is this going to happen? Well, guess what? Pitching health is a farce. And that's why, you got to have 6, 7, 8 guys. That's why Chad Patrick gets sent down by the Brewers. He's not getting traded. No, they need depth. Every team needs depth. And Andrew Painter is going to provide that. And I think he'll be up very, very soon.
That is Prospecting with the Welsh. Make sure you follow us here on our social media. And of course, Fantasy Pros MLB on the YouTube channel. Subscribe so you don't miss a piece of action here in the world of fantasy baseball. All right, let's take a look at some ups and downs. We'll get to some questions too. Jackson Holliday, he starts the ups with a 4-for-4 with 2-run homer. Seiya Suzuki is 25th. And Aaron Judge at another home run. That's for you, Welsh.
For me.
You're going to make the board. We'll see.
We'll see.
The downs from the weekend. Carlos Rodon, 7 runs, 6 earned. Oh, it was beautiful. So good. Dean Kremer, 5 runs, 3 strikeouts. And Marcell Ozuna hitting now 177, 20 for 113. And he was sitting yesterday. Color me concerned about Marcell Ozuna, Welsh.
Well, color me traded. Color me selling. Get this Braves team. I'm just waiting for them to.
We'll see.
The difference, though, is like I don't want to use the word. I almost did because I don't want to use the word blow up because I firmly, even though I think they're going to trade, I don't think they're going to blow anything up. I think it's going to trade
Sean Murphy to the Tampa Bay Rays because they need a catcher and they can play Baldwin. They're going to do moves like that. That's the kind of stuff. Maybe Grant Holmes, maybe. Maybe because he's already
Raisel Iglesias, Sean Murphy, maybe Marcell Ozuna. I think those are the pieces that are traded, and then they regroup. You're
not seeing Acuna trade. Jay Chow is thinking about flipping Acuna for a stud starting pitcher. My thoughts are: don't do it. Don't do it.
Unless that guy's name is Tariq Skubal. It's not even a question.
That's it. Those are the only 2 guys. Wheeler, Skubal, that's it. Those are the only 2 guys I would trade Acuna for. End of story.
I'm not doing it regardless, but I'm not listening for anybody but Tariq Skubal.
Game over. Who do I drop with you coming back today? Painter, Estrada, or Orion Kirkling?
Estrada, but I'm not sure I want to start Yu Darvish versus the Diamondbacks, so I'm going to skip that.
Here's another one from D Tags. Who would you keep between Cags, Cam Smith, Kurtz, and Yuri? I would keep Yuri. Keep is a very relative term.
Yeah, do you mean like keep for the rest of your season or keeper league?
In keeper leagues, I want all of them. In redraft, my priority is Yuri first, Cam Smith 2, Kurtz, and then Cags. That's the ranking I have.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty good with that. Kurtz and Cam are super close.
Jordan Westberg or Trevor Story rest of season from M. Rich.
Story's
picked it up recently.
Maybe it's Story. I mean, Westberg, I'm so disheartened with and the injuries and stuff like that. Just a quick look here. 243, 9 homers. A lot of his underlying stuff are still there. I'm going to go with Westberg on this one. I'm going to stick with Westberg.
There you go. So it was a keeper league. They could only keep 2. So Yuri Perez, PCA, and then was it Kurtz? And who was the other one?
Cags, Kurtz, Cam Smith. I don't know if I want to keep a pitcher in a 2-keeper league, especially Yuri, who just came off of an injury. I don't know about that. I want to keep
Yuri. I think. Look, before Tommy John, Yuri was the guy we were talking about before we were talking about Skenes. Okay, and I think people forget that a little bit, and I think they need to be reminded about it a little bit because I think this time next year we're going to be talking about him the way we talk about Skenes.
If Yuri is locked in the way his last start was the rest of the season, Yuri. But if it's dicey,
he has the tools, he has the age, he's already had the surgery. Yuri Perez is going to be a special pitcher. That's how I feel.
But those are some special prospects that if they get it right too. So you got a little bit of time. Maybe right now it's Yuri. It'll clearly be Yuri if he locks in. But if Cags goes on a 2-month thing or Kurtz keeps going, it's a bigger question. So you're going to need to come back.
This is interesting. Who-dat? How do you rank Clay Holmes and Mizorowski? Who would you rather have? I guess rest of season. Clay Holmes has already passed his innings total for the last 2 years, and Mizorowski. We saw the bad Mizorowski with the walks recently in his last start.
Man, my immediate reaction was to say Mizorowski here, but that's Clay Holmes still a sub-3 ERA pitcher, but expected is over 4, giving up a lot more contact. His K percentage has dropped under 20%. Innings limits. I think Mizorowski for the rest of the year is probably my bet.
I would roll the dice on the upside too, because I don't know with all the returning pitchers for the Mets if Clay Holmes ends up getting bounced in the bullpen because he has experience pitching out there. You know, you need a big
It's
ground ball in a big
possibility.
spot. He's a great ground ball pitcher. And how many times when you get somebody like that comes into a game when you have men on base and you need a ground ball, like Clay Holmes is that kind of guy. So we'll see. Injuries: Tommy Edman, hairline fracture in his pinky toe. We don't pinky toe, Welsh. We don't pinky toe.
It happens to me all the time.
More foot stuff. Teoscar Hernandez, he had an injury to his foot, but it came back clean. His pinky toe is just fine. Yu Darvish rejoins the rotation today, as we said, against the D-backs. Andres Gimenez goes to a walking boot for the next 5 to 7 days. He's going to be reevaluated after that. The Orioles put Gary Sanchez on the IL, so lots of catching injuries, but they don't want to.
Still no Samuel Basallo. Whatever they can do, they just don't want to do it. It's crazy.
We just don't care for him. We just don't like him. Matt
They're
Chapman.
gonna pick up Joe Pisapia. Joe Pisapia is our new catcher. They'll do anything they can to bring him up.
I could do it. I could catch a couple innings. Cole Reagans is cleared to resume throwing on Monday. Yay! Rejoice. Kodai Senga, he's going to be back making his next start in the major leagues this weekend. Also looks like Sean Manaea could come back against the Royals this weekend too. Tyler Glasnow is going to start Wednesday against the Brewers. Glasnow and Woodruff in the same couple days span. I don't know. All the feels, Welsh. And then Blake Snell faced hitters on Saturday. So hopefully he's going to go out on a rehab assignment soon, which brings us to the best bets
of the day
with Joey P and the Welsh. We'll fly through these because we're running late today. Toronto on the run line, -1.5 at -111. Jose Barrios has been better on the road this year. And he gets the White Sox, so give me the Blue Jays to keep rolling here. Give me the Phillies, and Sanchez has been terrific against the Giants, who can't hit water if they fell out of a boat. Give me Phillies run line -1.5 +128. Welsh, did you know that since the Rafael Devers trade, no hitter has more strikeouts than Rafael Devers, leading the league with 25? Just thought that was a fun fact via Codify Baseball. And Elly De La Cruz to steal a base today at +200. Welsh, where are you going for your home run call today?
I got a couple.
Oh, I'm sorry. Where are you going for your bets today? I don't even know. First day back. I was on vacation.
What did you just say?
Let's talk
what
about
did
your
you say?
bets. I said, who are you going for your home run call? But it's
well, hopefully these guys
yet.
are not giving up
later.
home runs.
It's later in the show.
Yeah, I want some strikeouts. So for my bets for the day, I'm starting off with Christopher Sanchez over 5.5 strikeouts. -105. It's a relatively decent pairing. Chris Sanchez obviously has still just been a nice K monster on the year. You're getting almost even money. So I love Christopher Sanchez in this spot. Jason Junk, we talked a whole bunch about. He has had some surprising good strikeout performances. 4.5 over. He's hovered in that 4 to 5 range.
Jansen Junk, I just want to say.
Oh, did I say Jansen? Yeah, apologies.
You said Jason. You burgundied. I don't know.
Well, and I think I wrote it that way too. So I burgundied.
It's not Michael's fault. It's your fault.
It is 100% my fault. Jansen Junk.
Put a J
over 4.5 strikeouts. It's big plus money, and his pitches have been ramping up. That's the other kind of goofy thing with it is that we've seen the 60s, 70s, and he just touched 80. So I'm going to presume that this start, he's going to be able to push into the mid 80s, which gives a really, really good possibility to hit that 5 because he has hit that quite a few times. So I love this plus 130 Jansen Junk. I'm looking at it 4.5. And then Arizona Diamondbacks over 8 runs. Yu Darvish, no, we're not doing that. Zach Gallen, I'm not. And even, by the way, Zach Gallen can throw a perfect game today, and you're not going to come on here and be like, oh, Welsh, are you ready to? Nope, I'm not, because I watched them all season. They're going to get banged around. Corbin Carroll, even with his wrist, has a 500 BVP plus against Yu Darvish. Ketel Marte hits against him. They're going to score some runs in this game. So I'm not putting Yu Darvish in. I'm not comfortable with Zach Gallen, but I am comfortable going over 8 runs in this game at -114.
I almost bet on Gallen today in this game, but I was like, nah, I just can't do it.
Well, you were going to go against him or bet like?
No, I was going to go with him against Darvish. That's what I was going to do, but
nope.
I'm not going to do it today.
Play the runs.
That's the way to lose money. But if you want to make money, make sure you go to fantasypros.com/leading off. Go bet on FanDuel, $5, win $250 if your first bet hits. Only on FanDuel at fantasypros.com/leading off, and download the Betting Pros app. Use the promo code leading off to use 7 free days of the premium tools to bet smarter, not harder. All right, let's look at the home run board. Since last we left you, I haven't hit any. So I don't see. Where's our friend?
I might be
Wonky. Wonky's at 30.
I might be at 25, maybe. I'd have to have that confirmation. But look, there's the big story. Look at this. George had just a commanding lead, a ridiculously commanding lead. And yet George has only a 3-homer lead against Marte. So Marte, Whips, and George, there's 4 homers between those 3 in the top, and the Fisher King and far out. Geez. But the gap has really closed at the top of this home run contest.
Yeah. Wonky says you're at 26. So you're right there. I'm not making the board this year. It's fine.
You got to have a big week this week. Big week this week. You can do it.
I'm taking Elly De La Cruz today for a home run. So unless he hits like 5, that's not happening. Welsh, where are you going for your home run call?
He's going to turn Jansen Junk into Jason Junk. That's what you're saying?
That's what he's doing.
I'm going to go with Ketel Marte. If Corbin's wrist was feeling better, I would have picked him. He is just hit Darvish like crazy. But Ketel Marte, if you want to play the BVP world, definitely has that as well. I also think runs are going to be scored. So I just don't feel comfortable backing Corbin right now after the injury and everything. So give me Ketel Marte to drop a bomb today and maybe, just maybe, get me on that list tomorrow.
There you go. That'll do it for us, everybody. But the story of the game goes on for the Welsh. I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids. Good to be back. I missed the baseball.
And you're going to say goodbye. 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Goodbye. So long. Farewell.
Avida saying goodbye.
It's Jensen, not Jason.